Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to share with you the books that I added to my Goodreads TBR in the month of March. All right, so if you are new around here, each month I do a video where I share with you all of the books that I add to my Goodreads TBR in any given month. And so these are not books that I've purchased. These are not my anticipated releases. So they're nothing that is going to be coming out in the future. They're all books that are currently out that I'm adding to my want to read list on Goodreads. So let's get into this. In the month of March, you guys are never going to believe this. Because it was middle grade March, you're never going to believe this. I only added six books to my list this month. I kind of got into a just funk when it came to consuming content as far as like Bookstagram and BookTube and all of that. Like, I just kind of hit a spot and I just wasn't feeling it. And so I wasn't consuming as much and therefore didn't get as many recommendations. So let's get into the six books that I did add to my list this month. So the first book that I added to my list is called Sing Me Forgotten by Jessica S. Olson. And I heard about this initially from Mackenzie at Cherished Reads. She, in her TBR video every month, she also does the anticipated releases or books that are being released that month. And so for March, she talked about this book. I think it came out in March. And all she said was that it was like a retelling of The Phantom of the Opera, but it's gender bent, or gender swapped. So it's like a gender swapped retelling of Phantom of the Opera. That's all I knew. I was like, yes, please add. I have no idea really anything else about this book. All right. Next is a book that I heard about from Chantel at An Intentional Life, and that is 10 Words to Live by Jen Wilkin. And this is a book, she said, that goes through the 10 Commandments. It's like a Bible study about the 10 Commandments and how they apply to us in our day-to-day lives today. And it just sounded really interesting. She said it'd be a good book to read with a group of people. And so it just kind of sparked my interest. And so that one got added to the list. And then the remaining four of these all came from the same place. And that is the North Texas Teen Book Festival. So I know I talked about it in a couple of different spots, but the North Texas Teen Book Festival, I cannot say this, North Texas Teen Book Festival, there we go, was online and it was free to stream this year. And they had all these different author panels and they were so good. I easily spent 3 days, hours, these 3 days just listening to these author panels and just getting so much great information and inspiration from these authors. It was so good. And so I have 4 books. Some of the author panels talked about books that I had already had on my TBR or books that I had already read or books that are for future releases. But then there were a few that talked about books that were out that weren't on my radar yet. So these are those 4 books. The first one is Punching the Air by Ibi Zoboi and Yusuf Salaam. This is a book that is inspired by Yusuf Salaam's experience. He is one of the exonerated 5 from New York, I think. And he basically was arrested as a teenager and treated, I believe, as an adult, sentenced as an adult for a very petty crime in New York. And so eventually he was exonerated. And this is kind of his story. And Ibi Zoboi they're writing it together. And it is about a wrongfully incarcerated teenage boy. And so yeah, that one just sparked my interest. The next one on this list is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. This is written by, I believe she's Ojibwe. It's an Ojibwe. She said it's basically an indigenous Nancy Drew. YA Nancy Drew. That's all I know. It sounded really interesting. I'm always down for reading more indigenous authors. And so added that one to the list. Sorry you're not getting a whole lot of information about these books. This is about what inspired me to add them to the list. So sometimes I don't know a whole lot about them. I just know that they sparked my interest in some way, shape, or form. All right, the next 2 are both middle grade. The first one is The Boy Who Failed Show and Tell by Jordan Sonnenblick. I think I said that right. This is a nonfiction book, and it is the first in a series of books that Jordan Sonnenblick is releasing about his experiences throughout like the middle grade years. And so yeah, this is his, I think it's fifth grade year, and it sounded so fun and just, yeah. But he basically said that it is about the worst year, or the year he had the worst teacher he's ever had. And it kind of really hones in on the importance of teachers and how they can make it or break it for a kid, and how we really remember the teachers who really made it hard on us, and also those who really invested in us as well. So, all right, and then the last one that I have on my list here is War Stories by Gordon Corman. Gordon Corman is a very prolific middle grade author. He has written so many books, but this one is a kind of foray into historical fiction, I believe, for him. And so this follows 3 generations. It is a middle grade student, his dad, and then his great grandfather, who was a World War II vet. And in Europe, they're doing some sort of awards, or I don't know, something along those lines, where they are honoring his great grandfather for his service during World War II. And so the boy and his dad and his great grandfather are all going somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where it is. But through it, his great grandfather starts telling him some of the stories about World War II. And I believe it has to do with like D-Day. And so it just sounded really interesting, the perspective on it. So yeah. So that's it. Those are the 6 books that I added to my Goodreads TBR in March. I know there wasn't a whole lot here, but I hope that you were able to find some good little gems that you could add to your TBR as well. Definitely go check out Mackenzie and Chantel's channels. They will be linked down below, as well as the North Texas Teen Book Festival's videos. I believe that they're still available to stream, and I highly suggest checking them out because, like I said, there were some really great panels. I will, if they are still available, I will link some of my favorites down below, as well as the ones that contained the books that I mentioned today. Hopefully that all made sense. So let me know if you've heard of any of these books. Let me know if you recommend me prioritizing them or not. And other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.